will begin with market failure as asked. So just let me know if you see my whiteboard. Can you see it? All right. So let's talk about market failure. Now, uh, before that, let's make a background about market failure. If we all know that the equilibrium in the microeconomics portion under the okay, who are the students here? Can you please tell me? Shaurya
Yes.
and Ashish.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am. Two only.
all right. Uh, two of them, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay, fine. So let me know if you have questions, and I will interact with you both in between. So please keep your mics on so that we can have an interaction in between too. Okay, so do you know what is equilibrium in microeconomics? Simple demand and supply model. Can we interact? Okay. Anyways, so our simple demand and supply model in microeconomics include demand curve and the supply curve. And wherever these two interact, this is our equilibrium point where we have market clearing price and market clearing quantity. Now, from this equilibrium is derived the market failure. So, in simple terms, market failure means that when demand is not equal to supply. This is the simplest meaning of market failure. The another meaning of market failure, this is the first one. Second meaning of market failure is that when resources are not allocated properly. So resource allocation is not proper or maybe improper. That is misallocation or under allocation of resources. All right. So your demand is not equal to supply. Simply, if your demand is greater than supply or your supply is greater than demand, there will be market failure. And when there is misallocation or under allocation of resources, there will be market failure in the economy. Now, considering market failure and its types, what are the types of market failure? The first one is public goods. Can any of you tell me what are public goods? Anyone? Shaurya, would you like to say something? What are
Probably
public goods?
public goods.
Anything?
Goods
Ashish?
accepted by everyone.
Yeah, right. That is goods that are accepted by everyone, that's right. But goods that are free of cost, first of all. So any type of good that is provided by the government generally that is free of cost to the public is called public goods. Can you give me an example, Ashish? Example for public goods? Any that comes to your mind?
Gardens, parks.
Correct. Very good. Parks, gardens, street lights, anything like that comes under public goods. You do not need to pay for parks or street lights to visit them or to use the street light that is maybe outside your home. So these are called public goods. Now, why are they considered to be types of market failure is because of two reasons. First is non-excludable and the other is non-rivalrous. Okay. Can anybody tell me what is non-excludable? What do you mean by non-excludable? Or maybe excludability? Anybody? Okay. So excludability means that when you are when one person, if one person is using one particular good, the other person will not be able to use that particular good. So coming back to public goods, they are non-excludable. That means each and every person in a particular economy can use that particular good. So if suppose Shaurya is using street lights or is going to a certain park, then Ashish can also visit that park. Nobody will stop him or her, right? So non-excludable means that each and every person can use all the goods that are provided free of cost by the government that are called public goods. And non-rivalrous means that when if one is using, or maybe if I talk about rivalry first, rivalry means that if one is using, then the other will not be able to use, like in case of private goods. That is, they need to give a certain price for a particular good. So suppose if let's talk about shoes. So a prescribed number of shoes are being produced by a particular firm and they are sold in the market. Suppose if person A goes buys a pair of shoes, person B cannot buy the same pair of shoe from the market, right? So this means that the private goods are rivalrous in nature, while considering public goods, they are non-rivalrous. That is, A and B both can go to a park, can use street lights, can use national defense, can use anything that is provided free of cost by the government. I hope I'm clear till here. Any questions? Then you may ask. Any questions? Okay. So coming to public goods, they are considered to be a major type of market failure because people who are using these public goods, who are using parks, who are using street lights, are using them free of cost. That is, they are paying nothing for that particular park. They might be loitering the park, they might be using the grass, they might be using the flowers, etc. But they are not paying anything to use that particular park. But on the other hand, government has to pay out a huge sum of money to actually make that particular park more beautiful, or maybe in on the first chance to make that park, all right, and to set up street lights, to spend for national defense, to give out all the freebies that the government gives out. So it is bearing the cost that the people should have borne, right? So your public goods are considered to be one major type of market failure. The second major type of market failure is externality. Anybody who can tell me about externality? Something that comes to their mind? Anyone? What is externality?
When the cost is bore upon by the third party or
Correct, absolutely. So only cost, Shaurya, or anything else?
cost or benefit.
Benefit. Correct. So when cost or benefit is borne by the third party, then this is called externality. So we have costs that comes under negative externality, and we have benefits that comes under positive externality. So we have two major broad categories of externalities that are negative and positive. When something negative comes to the third party or the third party bears something negative, that's called negative externality. When there's a benefit to the third party, it's called positive externality. Now, underneath these two broad categories, we have consumption, negative consumption externalities, and negative production externalities. Similarly, consumption, positive consumption, and positive production. All right. So now coming to the first one, let's take up negative production externalities as the first one. Can you give me an example of negative production externality? Anybody?
Pollution from the factory affecting the health of nearby residents.
Correct. Right, absolutely. So if there is a factory here and it is smoke polluting out smoke, or this is causing what? Air pollution. And what is the impact on the third party? The third party would be residents nearby who might have lung problems or respiratory system problems. Or if this particular factory is emitting out garbage or dumping out waste into the water body, river, then the third party may be the aquatic life, the plants, the animals inside the water or the river. All right. So there can be two ways third party if a firm is polluting out smoke or garbage or dumping waste into the water body. So this is a simple example of negative production externality. Now, before moving on to what is it, how do we make the graph and all, we have two major concepts or maybe four major concepts. We have MPC, MPB, MSB, and MSC. Can anybody tell me the full form of four of them? Anybody? What is MPC? Full form for MPC?
Marginal private cost.
Correct. What is MPB?
Marginal private benefit.
Right. And what is S in MSB?
Marginal social benefit.
What does S stands for?
Social.
Okay. So your MPC is marginal private cost, marginal private benefit. MSB and MSC are marginal social benefit and marginal social cost. Now your major focus, yes, correct. So your major focus is to go on to marginal social benefit or marginal social cost from MPC and MPB. Now, can anybody tell me out of the four, Okay, I hope I'm audible now.
Yes.
Okay, so coming back to externality. Anybody who can tell me which of the two MPC, MSC, MSB, and MPB are related to your demand curve, and which of the two are related to supply curves? Okay, so your demand curve is always related to your benefits, that is MSB and MPB. So we have D is equals to MPB is equals to MSB. We are talking about negative production externality here. All right, keep that in mind. Now coming to supply curve. I told you that we have to go from cost, sorry, from private to social. Under negative production externality, we will be moving from supply 1 that is equal to MPC to supply 2 that is equal to MSC. Okay, so the equilibrium point at MSC is equal to MSB will be your P opt, that is your optimal point, and this will be your Q optimal point, while the earlier equilibrium where we price in the market and quantity in the market, because your private, wherever you find private, that is related to your market, and wherever you find social, that is related to your societal welfare. All right. So it's the government's duty to move from market to social welfare or societal welfare. Hence, external government wants, like imposing taxes, imposing subsidies, imposing government regulations, carbon taxes, or maybe Peruvian taxes. Under negative production externality, you'll find that MPC type of negative production externality, the government can, we were talking about earlier, that emits smoke or dumps waste into the water body. If the government imposes taxes on microeconomics, supply curve will shift there. If taxes are imposed on a firm, the supply curve will shift to the right or the left. All right. So if tax or if they are imposed, the supply curve will shift to the left. Hence, we are talking about negative production externality, where our supply curve is moving from S1 to S2 directly to the MSC, that is marginal social cost, and reach the optimal level that is required in the society. The difference between S1 and S2 is called external cost. Any questions still here? Anybody? If you have questions, just let me know. Okay, am I audible now? Okay. I hope I am audible now. I don't know what's happening. Anyways, am I audible now? Please confirm.
Yes,
Okay. Okay, fine. If taxes increase, let's continue then. If taxes increase, we decrease our supply curve to the left. That is, we shift our supply curve to the left. And same case we are doing under negative production externality. So this is a trick because children do not children learn how to make these negative production, consumption, and positive production and consumption externality graphs. So it's a trick to go from MP negative production externality or positive production, positive consumption externality and negative consumption externality. So the difference between S1 and S2 will be the external cost. Now, if you drag PM till the point of S2, that is the difference between S1 and S2. Could you tell me what is the welfare loss? Anyone? Okay. Welfare loss is also called that is generated to the society or the society bears it. So a type of loss that where the profit does not go to the producer, society, or not to the government as well. So it becomes a loss to the society. Hence, this is called welfare loss. So the difference internal cost. Anyone? Okay. The externality, that is the production externality, and prevent smoke coming out from this factory, prevent air pollution, prevent water pollution, soil pollution, or maybe help people be healthy and fit, not having any respiratory issues. So the government can put first one is carbon taxes. What are carbon taxes? Carbon taxes means the taxes. These are type of indirect tax that are imposed on the producing goods and services and emitting out smoke into the atmosphere. So these taxes increase the cost of production of the firm. If the cost of production of the firm increases, the supply of the firm will fall. Hence, this will eventually help the firm to reduce emissions, to reduce pollution, or to reduce the dump that is that it is dumping into the water body. Two is a type of you can say restriction that helps the firm to increase their supply by reducing emission and dumping of the garbage. Indirect taxes. I hope you know what are indirect taxes and what's the difference between direct and indirect taxes. Can anybody tell me what are direct taxes? Anyone? Ashish, would you like to say something?
like income tax or corporate.
That is levied on the customer or on the consumer directly. That goes from government to the consumer, but your indirect taxes are the taxes that goes from government to the producers first, and then they go to the consumer. So if eventually the government is taxing the firm, this manufacturing unit for paper, then this becomes an indirect tax. Why? Because the firm will further shifting the burden of the tax to the consumer. Hence, to avoid a for profit motive. Hence, the cost of production will increase, leading to a decrease in the supply curve. This is the first one. The second one is the government can give out tradable permits. Anybody who wants to say something about tradable permits, if they know anything about tradable permits, what are these? Shaurya, anything?
Don't know.
Okay, 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 fine. So tradable permits are just the permits that the government who will pollute more and who will pollute less. So suppose we'll quickly do, then these permits will allow this firm A to stop pollution into the atmosphere. So this is a type of permit that the government gives to firm A to actually, on the other hand, the government can give out tradable permits to B2 to let's say 15 tons of pollution into the air. All right, emissions into air or maybe into the water body. So now if a firm has already attained tons, then what can firm A do to increase its profit? It can sell two tradable permits to firm B so that it can increase emissions by maybe 5 tons more. So this is a type of trade that takes tradable permits, and this allows the firms to emit pollution into the air, into the atmosphere according to a certain criteria. So this was about tradable permits. We had talked about carbon taxes that are also indirect taxes. We talked about negative production consumption. And if you have any questions, then let me know in this case. Okay, one thing more I have to tell you. The third one is government regulation here. These are normal. That is whatever the government wants to put or cap and rates to company to stop pollution or to stop production then and there so that they can reduce negative production externality from happening. And there might be other types of indirect taxes, there might be other types of permits that are given out by the government so that the firms may not reduce their potential, but they will reduce supply. Obviously, because the cost of production is their supply, and they can do is to reduce pollution. So eventually, they will reduce pollution there. So this was about negative production externality. Let me know if you have questions. Otherwise, we'll wrap up, I think. Shaurya, any questions?
No, ma'am.
Ashish, questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So I